All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's stream. I'm Cowboy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today, we're doing more TryHackMe and some coding challenges. Yesterday went fairly well, so let's see if we can go for round two. All right. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we've been working on this path of junior pen tester. I think we just see how far we can get in this for the next 30 minutes to an hour, and then we'll switch over to our coding challenges for the day. Sound good? Good. All right. Hope everyone's got their coffee ready, because this one's going to be a doozy. Oh, did we already do this one? Yeah, we did this one. This was the bank. So we have to go back and let's start, I guess, here. Careers in cyber. All right. Go ahead and join the room. Cybersecurity careers are becoming more in demand and offer high salaries. There are different jobs within security industries, from offensive pen testing, hacking machines, and reporting on vulnerabilities, to defensive security, defending against and investigating cyber attacks. So, why get a career in cyber? High pay, it's exciting, and be in demand. There are over 3.5 million unfilled cyber positions. I'll believe that when I see it, or as soon as somebody actually hires me. This room helps you break into cybersecurity by providing information on various cybersecurity roles. It also links to different learning paths that you can start building your cyber skills. I really wish these paths were just a little more, straight, being able to follow it a bit better. So we have security analysts. Security analysts are integral to constructing security measures across organizations to protect the company from attacks. Analysts explore and evaluate company networks to uncover actionable data and recommendations for engineers to develop preventative measures. This job role requires working with various stakeholders to gain an understanding of security requirements and security landscape. Responsibilities: working with various stakeholders to analyze cybersecurity throughout the company, compile ongoing reports about safety and network and documenting security issues and measures taken in response, develop security plans incorporating research on how new attacks and trends and measures needed across teams to maintain data security. Yeah. So I'll give you the truth about this one. It's just reporting, and it's all about metrics. How many cases can you close out? And can you do it fast enough? I think we'll skip that. Security engineer. Why does an engineer need a screwdriver like that? Anyways, security engineers develop and implement security solutions using threats and vulnerability data, often sourced from members of the security workforce. Security engineers work across circumventing a breadth of attacks, including web application attacks, network attacks, and evolving trends and tactics. The ultimate goal is to retain and adopt security measures to mitigate the risk of attack and data loss. So it sounds like these guys are the ones that are setting up the firewalls and such. Looks like we're getting a bit lag. All right, no, the Wi-Fi's doing all right. My Wi-Fi has been so iffy, it's been insane. I think we're catching up now. So, responsibilities, testing and screening security measures across software. That's a pretty big job. Monitor networks and reports to update systems and mitigate vulnerabilities. Identify and implement systems needed for optimal security. Then we have some learning paths. Incident responder. So, how is this different than security analysts? Developing and adopting a thorough, actionable incident response plan, maintaining strong security best practices, and supporting incident response measures. Post-incident reporting and preparation for future attacks, considering learnings and adaptations to take from the incident. Okay, so this is the guy that's going to be doing all the filling out cases and making reports, and then doing it again and again and again. Ask me how I know. If you like to play detective, this might be the perfect job. Digital forensic examiner. This is tough. I've played around with some digital forensics, and you have to really dive deep to start getting an understanding, and then you can usually adapt pretty quickly. So they collect digital evidence while observing legal proceedings, analyze digital evidence to find answers related to the case, and document your findings and report on the case. So basically, they'll help the analyst or incident responder. They'll get a piece of, they might get like an image of a company, a computer, and try and just work backwards of what was happening last that it was running. Malware analysts. Their work involves analyzing suspicious programs, discovering what they do, and writing reports about their findings. So they carry out static analysis of malicious programs, which entails reverse engineering, and they conduct dynamic analysis of malware samples by observing their activities in a controlled environment, so in a sandbox. They document and report all their findings. Cool. Next. Penetration tester. All right. Penetration testing, referred to as pen testing and ethical hacking. Pen tester's job is to test the security of a system and software within a company. This is achieved through attempts to uncover flaws and vulnerabilities through systemized hacking. Penetration testers exploit these vulnerabilities to evaluate the risk in each instance. The company can then take these insights and rectify the issues to prevent a real-world cyber attack. So they conduct tests on computer system, networks, and web apps. They perform security assessments, audits, and analyze policies. They evaluate and report on insights, recommending actions for attack prevention. So basically, they are working through these reports to test against a company's ability to be up to date and patch vulnerabilities. Red teamer. Red teamers share similarities to pen testers with more targeted job role. Penetration testers look to uncover many vulnerabilities across systems to keep cyber defense in good standing, while red teamers are enacted to test the company's detection and response capabilities. This job role requires imitating cyber criminals' actions, emulating malicious attacks, retaining access, and avoiding detection. This is the main thing. I was told by a friend once the difference between a pen tester and a red teamer is pen testing is testing a system against vulnerabilities. Red teaming is, can you get in? Can you stay in? Can you go undetected? And can you get something valuable? So, they emulate the role of a threat actor to uncover exploitable vulnerabilities, maintain access, and avoid detection. They assess an organization's security control, threat intelligence, and incident response procedures, evaluating the report's insights with actionable data for companies to avoid real-world instances. So this is why it's usually red versus blue. It's red team versus the incident response team. Let's go ahead and take the quiz. What we got? If I was stranded on an island, the first thing I would do is try and build a raft, scope the landscape for potential threat. Oh, is this going to place me somewhere? To find out which security job role fits you. Oh, this will be fun. Find a way to send an SOS, build shelter, prevent potential attacks. Let's try and build a raft to go home. In my spare time, I like to tinker with new technology, understand how it works, watch crime-solving TV shows, always a favorite. Keep busy by learning something new, find geocaches in my neighborhood, that's fun. Upkeep and maintain my home through DIY projects. I don't know if it's talking about smart home stuff. Because if it was, no security person I know is like, oh, I gotta have the latest Alexa. I would say tinker with new technologies. If I could buy a fictional celebrity dinner, it would be Sherlock Holmes, Yoda, Bruce Wayne, Walter White. Most of these people can afford dinner. But I'd say, yeah, I think Tony Stark. My favorite game, chess, hide and seek, Risk, battleships, Cluedo. Out of these, I guess hide and I don't know. I'm best described as curious, strategical, calm under pressure, mischievous, and practical. I'd say mischievous. Oh, my favorite movie is Back to the Future. Pentester? All right, close enough. Well, that was fun. Another room done. Good job. All right. I thought we did pen testing fundamentals yesterday. See what I mean? How the paths aren't clear? Yeah, we already did these. Let's go ahead to junior pen tester. So we can do principles of security. We can skip ahead to maybe some web hacking. I say we try some web hacking. I've been itching for some web hack. Oh, got us with the paywall again. Learning paths. Map. That's for us. Cyber kill chain. Fundamentals. Red team fundamentals. Web application security. I'm also going to go ahead and start this. Bookmark that page. Let's go ahead and try red team fundamentals. All right, good. Just want to make sure it's got some activity for us to do. Red team fundamentals. Cybersecurity is a constant race between white hat hackers and black hat hackers. As threats in the cyber world evolve, so does the need for more specialized services that allow companies to prepare for real attacks as best they can. While conventional security engagements like vulnerability assessments and pen testing could provide an excellent overview of technical security postures of a company, they might overlook some other aspects that a real attacker can exploit. In that sense, we can say that conventional penetration tests are good at showing vulnerabilities so that you can take proactive measures, but might not teach you how to respond in an actual ongoing attack by a motivated adversary. So, in this room, we're going to learn about the basics in red team, identify main components and stakeholders during a red team engagement, and understand the main difference between red teaming and other types of security engagements. Buckle up. So, vulnerability assessments. This is the simplest form of security assessment, and its main objective is to identify as many vulnerabilities in as many systems in the network as possible. To this end, concessions may be made to meet this goal effectively. For example, if the attacker's machine may be allow listed on the available security measures to avoid interfering with vulnerability discovery process. This makes sense since the objective is to look at every host on the network and evaluate its security posture individually while providing the most information to the company about where to focus remediation efforts. All that to say is probably, yeah, we let the attacker in so we can just skip to the part where they can start scanning. As an example, if you run a vulnerability assessment over a network, it would normally try to scan as many hosts as possible, but it would actually try exploiting any vulnerabilities at all, but wouldn't actually. Okay. Penetration test. Attempt to exploit the vulnerabilities found on each system. This is important as sometimes a vulnerability might exist in a system, but compensatory controls in place effectively prevent its exploitation. Man, they just love their big words. So they try to exploit every system. Sometimes the vulnerability is blocked by something else, even though it's there. Conduct a post-exploitation test on any compromised host, allowing us to find if we can extract any helpful information on them, or might be able to pivot other hosts that not previously accessible from where we stand. Okay, so the pen tester finds different machines, tests the vulnerability. Is it vulnerable to that attack? Yes or no? Is it vulnerable to a different attack that can allow us to move laterally? Advanced persistence threats and why regular pen testing is not enough. Penetration tests are allowed. Usually pen testers won't put much effort into trying to go undetected, unlike real attackers. They don't mind being easy to detect, as they have been contracted to find as many vulnerabilities as they can in as many hosts as possible, usually as quickly as possible. Non-technical attack vectors might be overlooked. Attackers usually leverage social engineering or physical intrusions, which are usually not included in what is tested for pen testing. Relaxation of security mechanisms. While doing regular pen tests, some security mechanisms might be temporarily disabled or relaxed for the pen testing team in favor of efficiency. On the other hand, real attackers won't follow an ethical code and mostly unrestricted in their actions. Nowadays, most prominent threat actors are known as advanced persistent threats, APTs, which are highly skilled groups of attackers, usually sponsored by nations or organized crime groups. They primarily target critical infrastructure, financial orgs, government institutions. They're called persistent because their operations of these groups can remain undetected on compromised networks for long periods. If a company is affected by an APT, it would be prepared to respond effectively. Could they detect the methods used to gain and maintain access in their network if the attacker has been there for several months? All right. Would vulnerability assessment prepare us to detect a real attacker on our network? Probably not. During a penetration test, are you concerned about being detected by the client? No. Highly organized groups of skilled actors. Advanced, persistent threats. Easy. Next, red team engagements. So, to keep up with emerging threats, red team engagements were designed to shift focus from regular pen tests into processes that allow us to clearly see our defense team's capabilities at detecting and responding to a real threat actor. So this is where that red versus blue comes in. Red teaming is a term borrowed from the military. In military exercises, a group would take the role of the red team to simulate attack techniques to test the reaction capabilities of the defending team, known as blue team. There we go. Translated to the world of cybersecurity, red team engagements consist of emulating real threat actors' tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs. These are so good to know. So that we can measure how well our blue team responds to them and ultimately improve the security controls in place. These TTPs, I think we covered that a little bit ago with the MITRE attack framework. So every red team engagement will start by defining clear goals, often referenced as crown jewels or flags, ranging from compromising a given critical host to stealing some sensitive information from a target. Usually, the blue team won't be informed of such exercises to avoid introducing any bias in their analysis. The red team will do everything they can to achieve the goal while remaining undetected and evading any existing security mechanisms like firewalls, antivirus, EDR, IPS, and others. Notice how on red team engagement, not all of the hosts on a network will be checked for vulnerabilities. A real attacker would only find a single path to its goal and is not interested in performing noisy scans that the blue team could detect. Taking the same network as before, on the red team engagement, where the goal is to compromise intranet server, we would plan for a way to reach our objective while interacting as little as possible with other hosts. Meanwhile, blue team's capacity to detect and respond accordingly to the attack can be evaluated. So basically, the difference is pen testers are like, let me check this server, let me check this server, let me check this server. Red teamers have to be like, can we check that server? Should we check that server? We have to make sure that the way that we checked it is quiet, doesn't produce any logs. People don't hear us scanning these things. So, red team engagements also improve regular penetration tests by considering several attack surfaces: technical infrastructure, social engineering, physical intrusion. Technical infrastructure. Like in a regular pen test, the red team will try to uncover technical vulnerabilities with a much higher emphasis on stealth and evasion, just like I said. Social engineering, targeting people through phishing campaigns. That's those spam emails you get. Hey, download this file and run it. Phone calls or social media to trick them into revealing information that should be private. Physical intrusion, using techniques like lockpicking, RFID cloning, exploiting weaknesses in electronic access control devices to access restricted areas of facilities. So trying to physically get into whatever warehouse or store or company or whatever. In fact, I think there's a talk you can find on YouTube about somebody doing a red team engagement where they just camped in an elevator. They just took the elevator to a halfway floor, pulled the stop button, and just was on their computer for like an entire weekend. So, depending on resources available, a red team exercise can be run in several ways. Full engagement, assumed reach, tabletop exercises. So full engagement simulates an attacker's full workflow from initial compromise until the final goals have been achieved. Assumed reach, we start by assuming that an attacker already has gained control over some asset and try to achieve the goals from there. For example, a red teamer could receive access to some user's credentials or even a workstation on the internal network. Or they might just wave their magic wand and say, hey, we need a volunteer. We set up this computer. Try and find it. All right. Next is tabletop exercises. An over-the-table simulation where scenarios are discussed between the red and blue teams and evaluate how they would theoretically respond to certain threats. Ideal for situations where doing live simulations might be complicated. Goals of red team engagement, often referred to as flags, or I've never heard the other way, crown jewels. WELS. Thanks, dyslexia. Jewels. During a red team engagement, common methods used by the attacker are emulated against the target. Such methods are usually called TTPs. What does TTP stand for? Tactics, techniques, and procedures. Tactics, techniques, and procedures. Technique. The main objective of red team engagement is to detect as many vulnerabilities in the host as possible. No. I like how they have to say nay instead of no, because it would just be two. There are several factors and people involved within a red team engagement. Everyone will have their mindset and methodology to approach an engagement. Personnel. However, each engagement can be broken into 3 teams or cells. Below is a brief table illustrating each of the team and a brief explanation of their responsibilities. So we have red cell, blue cell, and white cell. So a red cell is a component that is made up of the offensive portion of red team engagement that simulates a given target's strategic and tactical responses. Man, I'm not. Dyslexia is coming in hard today. Blue cell. Blue cell is the opposite of red. No way. It includes the components defending a target network. The blue cell is typically comprised of blue team members, defenders, internal staff, and organizations management. The white cell serves as the referee between the red and blue cells during an engagement. They control the engagement environment and network, monitor adherence to the rules of engagement, coordinates activities required to achieve engagement goals, correlates red cell activities with defense actions. So kind of like a purple team. Kind of. So for the red team room, we'll have a focus on responsibility of the red cell. So we have red team lead, red team assistant lead, and red team operator. So the lead plans and organizes engagements at a high level, delegates, assistant lead, and operators engagement assignments. The assistant lead assists the team lead in overseeing the engagement, operations, and operators. Can also assist in writing engagement plans and documentation if needed. And of course, the operator executes the assignments delegated by team leads, interpret and analyze engagement plans from the team leads. With the most red team functions, each team and company will have its own structure and roles for each team member. The above table only acts as an example. All right. What cell is responsible for the offensive red cell. Red cell is a trusted agent. White cell. So you can just think of it as like every game needs a ref, and that's the white cell. So those are the people that are like, if something goes wrong, if there's a quote unquote penalty, you can talk to them and they'll fix it, or at least be aware of it. Engagement structure. A core function of the red team is adversary emulation. While not mandatory, it is commonly used to assess what real adversaries would do in an environment using their tools and methodologies. The red team can use various cyber kill chains to summarize and assess the steps and procedures of the engagement. Blue team commonly uses cyber kill chains to map behaviors and break down adversary movements. The red team can adapt to this idea and map adversary TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures. I'm going to say it every time until I remember it. So, to components of an engagement. Many regulations and standardization bodies have released their cyber kill chain. Of course, everyone's got to have their own version. There's our MITRE attack framework, Active Directory attack cycle, Veronius cyber kill chain, Unified kill chain, and Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain. This room will commonly reference the Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain. It's more standardized kill chain than the others, and it's very commonly used among red and blue teams. Sure. So that is broken down into recon, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, actions on objectives. The purpose is to obtain information from the target. So that's our OSINT we were talking about yesterday. Weaponization, combine the objective with an exploit, commonly results in deliverable payload. Exploit the backdoor malicious office document. That's that attachment in the email. How will weaponized function be delivered to the target? USB. So that's just the method or email or hosted on the web. Exploit the target system and execute code. MS-17 0-010, zero logon, etc. So what exploit are they doing? Install malware or other tooling. So tools like Mimikatz, Rubius, etc. Command and control. This is their command center where they're able to remotely control the computers. So there's different software. There's Empire, Cobalt Strike, Sliver, other things like that. Actions on objectives. Any end objectives. Are they trying to deploy ransomware? Are they trying to exfil data? So being able to use Lockbit or Conti. If an adversary deployed Mimikatz on a target machine, where would they be placed in the Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain? It's installation. What's technique's purpose is to exploit the target system and execute code. Isn't there just straight up execute? No? Exploitation? All right. That was easy. You know all the things we would discuss, hit the view site button. Notice how the cyber kill chain naturally aligns with the exercise. We'll start with the recon phase, where we gather as much intel as we can about the target, followed by weaponization and delivery by sending a phishing email, malicious attachment, continued by exploitation and installation phases, which will elevate privileges on Bob's PC, and then installing tools on the compromised host, dump some passwords, get some hashes, perform lateral movement, and finish with the actions on objectives. All right. Red and white teams define the goal of the exercise. So white team's going to coordinate with red team. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Red team gathers intel on the bank, plans a strategy based on the TTPs listed by the APTs targeting similar financial institutions. Oh, is it supposed to be used? All right. So they start pulling in intel on the bank. What are other threats that exist? How are they doing this? What tools are they using? What techniques are they using? What methodologies are they using? So they emulate the TTP with a phishing campaign. Hey, Bob, open this email. They found some LinkedIn names and emails. So julie.smith@bank.com, john.watson@bank.com. Cybersecurity training. Well, remember to attend the cybersecurity on Monday. Account suspended. Yep. See how bank has 2Ks? Phishing alert. To all employees, please avoid any email with the subject account suspended. So they're doing typo stomping here. So, Red Team found missing window patches on Bob's PC. One of them allowed for print nightmare exploitation. So they're going to run an LSA dump against the SAM. They're going to get the SAM key, the NTLM, and they're able to extract local password hashes, including the local admin account backups. Oh boy. Oh, there we go. So a direct connection from Bob PC to the database was blocked by the firewall. Using pass a hash, it was possible to connect to the database PC using the backups user password hash. Using credentials found on a text file on the database's PC desktop, it was possible to access the database. So we went from Bob's PC. We found the account backup, which was a local admin. We used pass the hash to log into the database PC because we weren't able to access it directly. We were blocked by the firewall. So we accessed the database PC, look around on there. We found some files that showed, oh, this is how we can access it locally. In the end, red, white, and blue teams will check in together, see how security controls can be improved in order to be ready for a real threat. So everyone just shares notes at the end. Cool. Cool. I was hoping for a little more hands-on. Active recon, passive recon, nmap, metasploit intro. All right. These are just good to know because this can help you actually use some tools out there to help you learn more about cybersecurity. But I think we're good there. Let's go ahead and switch gears to our coding challenges. Right. We were stuck on the rotation 13, rot 13. But we were able to get there. We figured it out. Let's see what our next one is. Complete the scramble string 1, string 2 that returns true if a portion of string 1 characters can be rearranged to match string 2. Otherwise, return false. Okay, so can we rebuild the word? Why does this seem simple? I know I'm going to regret using that word. Oh. Get pumped, everybody. Let's see what we got. So we're given string 1 and string 2. It's always good to rewrite what our current understanding is. So, does S1 contain letters needed to make S2? So my initial idea was just, all right, we'll just go through each word, each letter, until it's, yeah, we got it. Yeah, there's enough letters in here to make this word. Let's see, I'm already thinking about some edge cases where, somebody might, what's the word I'm looking for? Only lowercase letters will be used, no punctuation or digits. Performance needs to be considered. So what if the word was wood, and only one O was like in string 1? Yeah, string 2 is wood, and string 1 has one O. Now I'm thinking maybe if we do a temporary array for x in S2, temp dot append x. So now we have an array of a string. Is that for y in S2 or S1? If y in temp on y pop, and at the end, can we just do if the temp is greater than 0, turn false, else true. Now, I don't think this is the efficient way. Yes, to I just want to remove the letter from that word, or S2. There we go, yeah, timeout. We need like Python find in array. Okay, dot index. So can we do how do we remove that? I think that's going to quote unquote work. That's a big ad. Right. You knew what I meant. I'm doing the scrambles. Just getting angry and angry. Who was this one's answer? Yeah, dot index. All right, we're able to pass the first 5, but then we're getting timeouts. So I wonder if we flip this. So if we just go through, pop it off. Is there an easy way to do Python string to array? I mean, initially I'm like, can we just do a split? Yeah. Oh, there's a built-in list function. That might be good. Move white spaces from the beginning to the end. Use the strip. Okay, so list is probably the function that we want. We're just gonna cut this out for, well, we'll just comment it out for now. Okay. So if we have, let's say word equals list s2 available equals list s1, for x in word. If x in available and then we have like a count depending on how big of the words they're making us do that. I'm thinking if we can do like x and available, so that means we found that letter. We can do L full dot pop available dot indexed on x count plus equals 1. And then at the end we can just do if count is less than length word, turn false. Else if I kind of want to do else return false. If count equals the length of the word, then we can say it's true. So I think we're a little more efficient now because it's just based on how long our first word is, or the word that we're trying to see. And while I did work, it wasn't fast enough. Let's type trace to list. Split with the separator. Let me care about that. What if we just don't type it? Because we don't need to remove it from the big list. But like I said, I'm thinking, what if, it has 2 O's. All right. So we passed, we roughly passed about half of them. All right. This one's tough. Is that max buffer size reached? Here's what I'm thinking. Since we have it in a list, here's word in available. Turn blue else. Else. Thanks for the spam. And we only passed one. Let's print word. And let's print available. Available. If available. Dot contains word. Yeah. Well. I think what we're gonna have to do is this thing called map. We don't want search. We want a new tab. That's a new window. Python map function. What? Modules. Machine learning. There it is. So kind of thinking like this. I'd like returns a readable version of the object, returns a binary vision of a number, bool, guide array, guides, callable. Oh, is this one of those times when we need to XOR? I hope not. This list. Whales, duplicates. Ooh, maybe it's the AND operation. Because we need to... Really gotta draw this in my head. Turns X with the bits shifted to the left by Y. Returns X with the bits shifted to the right by Y. Bitwise AND. Each bit of the output is 1 if the corresponding bit of X and Y is 1, otherwise it's 0. Bitwise OR. Each bit of the output is 0 if the corresponding bit of X and Y is 0. Otherwise it's 1. Each bit of the output is the same as the corresponding bit in X if that bit in Y is 0. And the complementary, the bit, so maybe it's this one. Can we do that with strings? Is that... bit exclusive or available? Show me what you got. Yeah, I didn't think so. But can we do S2, S1? I think we're only a something. Bitstring module. Don't think that's what we want. We need to take in 2 strings. See if our string 1 contains the letters to make string 2. Can we just go through and see how many times they're equal to each other? Or is that dumb? Anyone have any ideas? Collections counter. This has come up a few times, I think. Counter is a tool provided to support convenient and rapid tallies. For example, blue 3, red 2, green 1. Count equals counter. Collections. A counter is a dictionary subclass for counting hashable objects. It is a collection where elements are stored as dictionary keys and their counts are stored as dictionary values. Counts are allowed to be any integer value, including 0 or negative counts. Counter class is similar to bags or multisets. Setting count to 0 does not remove the element from a counter. Actually removes the delete C sausage. Elements are subtracted from an interval of total clear list. List unique elements, convert to a set, convert to a regular dictionary. This seems helpful. Most common. We want to just subtract. Sure. The Q. So the Q object initialize left to right. We append. Draw in a blank. Good. If we're so what I'm thinking is, like, if we're able to have the counts of the letters, that's only 26. I don't know how fast it can go. But if we do something along the lines of, like, then making these lists, we make them counters. For letter, amount of times it comes in our word dot items. So that should give us all the letters. If available on our index on our letter has less than the amount that it needs, then we can just return false immediately. And if we get through the for loop, then we can just return true. Where did I go wrong? Oh, I probably forgot to import counter. What was it again? Sorry for the vertigo. Is it just import counter? Import from collections, import counter. That's the only one. Okay, there's a capital C. We passed that. I can get rid of this. And that's up a bit. Fingers crossed. Please? Oh, wow. Oh, thank God. Awesome. Let's go ahead and submit that. Oh, they made a set. Yeah, I guess we didn't really need counter. Then they compared length. I don't think I really understand that counter object. Anyways. I don't care about Gilbert, sadly. And their crazy ability to turn off. I just put on off. Checks if all items in the list are true. Iterable. Okay. This one that count of X based on set of 2. Is greater than or equal to the set. Okay. They made a dictionary. How are we feeling, gang? Do we want to call it here? Maybe I'll just end the stream real quick and we can pop over to some, what's the game? Factorial. Let me take a look at something. We can also just go back to more TryHackMe. Go ahead and take a look at analytics. Probably today. Right, there we go. What should we do on stream? Finally, that we have good internet. Seems to be running low, right? Let's mess with the code that I have set up so we can, or I can work on the dang downloadable web app. Let me check on our Kali. Share my screen. There we go. And let's do downloadable web app. So TryHackMe just straight up has the room for it. All right. Well, let's do sudo app so dvwa. Guess I haven't updated it since. Oh boy. I think we can do it ourselves without having to rely on TryHackMe. I just want to let's upgrade some packages, I guess. Go ahead and upgrade while we got some time while I look up how we want to do this. DVWA. We can 62 by 610. Go ahead and set that up. Probably shouldn't have done that while we're running an upgrade. Oh well. We'll find out soon enough. What's that looking up again? Man, it really has been a day already. I think we'll just get this set up and then we'll call it a day. And, you know, next stream we'll be able to get it ready. Well, that's loading here. Oh, we're getting Burp Suite 2. That'll be good. Let me go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about with this web app thing. Switch over to TryHackMe tab. So DVWA stands for Damn Vulnerable Web App. And it's basically the OWASP top 10 that we ran through. Only this time it's running locally. So you're able to actually do some of the testing that you want to do. And it doesn't matter if it breaks or not. And it walks you through some of these lessons. So walking through all the OWASP top 10. If Callie decides not to cooperate, we can just start up the VM here. The credentials to log in can easily be shown online. What else should we do? Weekly leagues. We're in the top 20. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that is, but we're there. Earn points and win. Attack and defend King of the Hill workspace. With up to 10 players. Hack and use your skills to enumerate and hack into machines. Oh, that's pretty neat. Well, education. Our dashboard looks like a bang. I mean, also I'm open to any suggestions, so people can leave comments below, or type it into chat. And we'll just go back to the initial idea, which is see if we can I think we're just going to call it there. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something today. We got to cover some of the red team fundamentals and do a pretty tricky coding challenge. I feel pretty good about it. I hope everyone else does too. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We're already up to 31 followers on Twitch. So just 19 more and we have affiliated. So thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.